The avoidant's entire strategy was built on a fundamental assumption that you would pursue them no matter how much distance they created. This was not arrogance, but rather pattern recognition based on their entire relational history. Every time they had pulled away before, someone had chased. Every time they created space, someone had tried to close it. Every time they went cold, someone had worked harder to warm them up. This predictable response was so consistent that the avoidant stopped questioning whether it would happen and started relying on it as inevitable. But you broke the pattern completely. You did not chase, you did not pursue, you simply let them go. And the avoidant is experiencing genuine shock that is forcing them to reconsider everything they believed about their own desirability and the dynamic they thought they controlled. The silence where pursuit should be. The avoidant created distance, expecting your predictable reaction. They withdrew emotionally, anticipating that you would reach out, asking what was wrong. They went days without contact, waiting for you to break the silence. They posted on social media, designed to make you curious, jealous, concerned, but nothing happened. No texts checking in. No calls demanding explanation. No likes or comments trying to reestablish connection. Just complete radio silence where your pursuit should be. This absence of the expected response is profoundly disorienting. The avoidant keeps checking their phone, keeps looking for the notification that confirms you are still thinking about them, still affected by their absence, still invested enough to try. But the notification never comes. The silence is not strategic on your part. It is genuine disengagement. And the avoidant is shocked because they have never encountered someone who could actually let them go this completely. The realization that they were replaceable. The avoidant operated with the unconscious belief that they were irreplaceable in your life. Not because they were narcissistic, but because every previous partner had communicated through their desperate pursuit that life without the avoidant was unbearable. This created a sense of security in their own value. They could be unavailable, inconsistent, and emotionally distant because they believed you needed them too much to ever actually leave. But your lack of pursuit is communicating something devastating. That you are fine without them. That their absence has not created a void, but rather opened space for peace. That they were not the essential element in your happiness they believed themselves to be. This realization is shocking because it contradicts the entire narrative that allowed them to feel safe in their patterns. If they are replaceable, if you can rebuild your life without them, if their withdrawal does not trigger your collapse, then they never held the power they assumed they did. The panic that their strategy backfired. The avoidant is experiencing dawning horror that their withdrawal, meant to create longing and increase their value through scarcity, has achieved the opposite effect. By creating distance, they did not make you want them more. They made you realize you could live without them entirely. By being unavailable, they did not increase their desirability. They decreased it to the point of irrelevance. The strategy that always worked before has catastrophically failed because you are not the anxious partner their playbook was designed for. You are someone who values peace over proximity to dysfunction. Someone who would rather be alone than accept breadcrumbs. Someone who interprets their distance not as mystery to pursue, but as clarity to accept. The avoidant is shocked because they played the game expecting you to play your predictable role, and instead, you left the game entirely. The fear that you have actually moved on. What shocks the avoidant most is the possibility that your lack of pursuit is not strategy, but genuine indifference. They can handle you playing hard to get. They can even respect you, giving them space. But the idea that you have actually moved on, that you are building a life that does not include them, that you think about them rarely, if at all, is existentially threatening. The avoidant is realizing that while they were creating distance to make you want them more, you were using that distance to heal, grow, and ultimately release your attachment to them. They thought you would be frozen in place, waiting for them to return. Instead, you continued evolving in a direction that no longer includes them. The shock is recognizing that they waited too long, tested too far, assumed too much. They thought they could always come back and find you waiting. But you are not waiting. You are living. And that truth is forcing the avoidant to confront that they lost someone they actually valued through the very patterns they believed would keep you hooked. Why this shock will not lead to change. The avoidant is shocked that you did not chase them. But for most, this shock will not translate into meaningful transformation. Instead of recognizing that their patterns destroyed a valuable connection and committing to address those patterns, they will likely rationalize your lack of pursuit as evidence that you did not care enough, that the relationship was not that important, that they were right to create distance from someone who could let them go so easily. The shock will fade and be replaced with defensive narrative that protects their ego rather than confronting the uncomfortable truth that you did not chase them because you finally loved yourself more than you loved the idea of them. And that was the healthiest choice you could have made.